I know the worst part of the day is that damn yield. How you guys doing today?
It used to be worse.
All right, we're going to keep these somewhat moderated now. Coach Lewis, Adam, you got one for him?
Yeah, Coach, what have you seen out of your group this preseason?
I've seen us come a long way from where we were in the springtime. You know, we're bringing a bunch of guys in from different schools and trying to get them to buy into one system. And I think they're doing a great job at that. Guys are working hard, running to the ball, competing in every down. So that's all I can ask for right now. Just see us steady getting better as we go.
Brian, you got one?
How about your experience with the Seahawks? Like, how much did that help you grow as a coach as you got ready for this position here?
Oh, it helped exponentially. You know, just learning the different phases of the fronts, going from a 3-4 to a 4-3, and just making sure guys playing the proper technique. So I learned a lot there. One of my best friends was the defensive coordinator and the D-line coach when I got there. And then I just kind of came up through the ranks. He became the DC, and I took over the defensive line room. So a lot of help, a lot of growth in that area. So I just really appreciate what they did for me in my career.
Nick, you go.
How did this job opportunity arise? When did Coach Prime reach out to you and say, hey, we want you on our coaching staff?
So we had just played Arizona, and probably 3 or 4 days after that, when our season's over with, I got the first phone call. Obviously, we were in limbo in Seattle because we didn't know what was going on, but I knew I had an opportunity out there if things went south. So things went south, and I took the opportunity, and Coach Prime called and gave me the offer.
Tyler, you going?
What's the adjustment like going from the NFL to college? What's different, and what have you maybe liked better about working with college guys?
For me, it's just been the early on, like in the spring, just kind of tempering expectations because you know you got a lot of young kids. These are not men yet. So just getting them to play the way you want to and using the proper language and the proper style of coaching to reach them. You know, coming from the NFL is, you know, I'm going to tell you 3 or 4 times and then, you know, we're going to do something about it. Whereas in college, you know, you got these guys, they're here, they're students. On top of that, you're just trying to make sure that you help them mature and learn what you're telling them and learn what you're coaching them so they can replicate it out on the field.
Scott, you got one?
Yeah. Coach Prime has talked about Deion and Samuel Cololo and a couple other guys being future pros. What do you think it is about those two in particular that makes them, you know, that have that potential?
I think it's the motor and the attention to detail. You know, Deion came here from Pitt. And obviously, you know, him, I don't know how well that was received with him transferring, but whatever. We got him here, he's buying into what we're coaching, and that's all I know from the kid. He's coming in, he's doing exactly what we're asking him to. He's competing at a high level, he's turning and running to the ball. He's exuding some leadership in the room as well. And the same thing with Sam. Sam just works. You know, you get him out there, he's going to work, he's your workhorse, he's going to do everything you ask him to the best of his ability. So, you know, those guys, I have nothing but positive things for them, and I see them possibly having a chance to go play on Sunday.
Matt, you got one?
It's one of the worst rush defenses in the country last year. How do you guys go about correcting some of those things, especially with these new personnel?
Luckily for them, I wasn't here last year, so that doesn't pertain to me. And I know we're going to go and get after the quarterback.
So when you go about trying to fit the run better, what are things you focus on?
I just take from my experiences. You can't be a good defensive line if you can't stop the run game. So that's always going to be a challenge. So every week, number one rule, we stop the run. So that's going to be our focus, and then after that, we earn the right to rush.
Troy, you got one?
How's it been working with Coach Sapp? It feels like he's bringing a lot of positive energy to the room. What has that partnership been like for you?
It's been cool. You know, Sapp is a yellow jacket guy. I've been knowing Sapp since I've been 15 years old because I grew up a Hurricanes fan. Went to Miami trying to emulate what he did while he was there. So it's been super positive. You know, he's a great guy. He brings a lot of expertise to the room. I allow him to get the space to speak and teach, and he's getting into coaching, so it's been awesome.
Taylor, do you have one? Okay. Thanks, Coach. We're good.
All right, thanks, guys. All right, thank you, guys.
Hey, Coach.
Coach Loadholt. Brian, you got a question for him?
Yeah, Coach, just going through your first fall camp with these guys, what's been your impression of watching them as they've gotten on the pads and you've out for a few weeks?
It's been good. Like you say, being able to get the pads on and seeing how guys can move people off the ball with pads and move their feet with pads has been great. Had a lot of time to eval these guys, and so far it's been pretty good.
Adam, you got one?
Jordan Seaton is in his first preseason camp. What areas have you seen him improve, and what are kind of the areas he needs to make the biggest strides in to get ready for the season?
Mentally, he's improved a lot. Just his communication and tackle position, whether he's at right or left, being able to communicate to the back, being able to communicate with the guys next to him. He's picked up in that a lot. Obviously, I want to see him improve on just toughness of college football. You know, it's a grind every day, and there's not many times you can take a play off. You know what I mean? So just knowing that every snap he's got, every snap he goes, he's got to give it everything. So his toughness is the main part.
Nick, you go.
What have you seen from Hank Zelinkus this fall camp?
Hank's been great. Hank, he's a guy who over communicates and gets everybody in the right spot. He's starting to learn his leverage and angles a lot better, which being the center and his size, that's what he has to do to be successful. So he's been great since I got here, and he's continued to improve. So.
How do you feel like the chemistry is with Shedeur Sanders and the entire offensive line at this time?
It's great. When you got him back there, he makes us right a lot. He'll check things and put us in the right spot, get where we need to be. He understands protections. He understands the entire offense. So, having him back there is good, and those guys know that if he tells you something, you do it, and they can lean on what he's telling.
So there you go.
You weren't here last year, Coach, but obviously Tyler Brown had to sit out. What's it been like kind of getting to know him as he's been able to get back on the field from the spring and now, and obviously getting to see him at right tackle even too, just kind of expanding his game a little bit?
Rock's been great. Since I stepped in here, he's been great. Obviously everyone knows how strong he is physically, and then just mentally, he's always there for me. You can count on him. No matter what position you throw him in, any position, he'll adapt and adjust. And he's a true leader in the room. He's a guy you don't have to worry about anything. So he's been great working with him.
Brian, you got another?
I just want to ask you about the depth at this point. Like, how comfortable do you feel with where that group is right now as you're 9 days away from game day, as far as finding that starting five, but also kind of feeling comfortable with a top 8 or 10?
Yeah, that's where we're at right now, just trying to find depth, build the depth up in the room. Coach Prime has gave me some situations to think about moving forward, and that's where we're at right now. So, I feel good about, 6, 7, maybe 8 right now, and trying to get that to 10, closer to 10, and we'll be in a good spot.
Scott, you go. Matt?
How close are you to finding a rotation that you feel comfortable with for week 1? It seemed like you guys are still mixing and matching pieces right now.
Yeah, we've been mixing and matching guys, just trying to find the right combinations. I feel really good about, the rotation that I got set right now in my mind. But we've been working on it. We're going to get there definitely before next Thursday for sure.
This is the first opportunity you've had to be an offensive line coach officially in title. So how has that process gone for you? Just learning, I'm sure there's a curve to it.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a curve, but it's been smooth. The guys that I've worked with in the past have given me a lot of ownership in the room, and been able to do a lot of things. So there's a curve. I'll tell you what, Gunnar White, who is the assistant offensive line coach here, unbelievable. He's helped out with that tremendously. He makes everything smooth. So shout out to Gunnar for that.
Last one over here.
Coach, the players have mentioned that you being in the league so recently, they've been taking in a lot of gems from you as a coach. What are you preaching to them, and what have you been able to share from your time in the league?
I try to lean on my experiences whenever I can. We'll talk about my experiences, but it's more so about these guys. You know what I mean? It's about them and what we build as a unit moving forward. So, I'll lean on my experience when the time is right, but more so I'll focus on them and then letting them get to where they need to be.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Thanks, Coach.
No problem.
Coach Hart, Nicky, you go.
Levante Bentley, Trevor Woods, is that kind of your starting package as the game day is close ahead?
Early in the season, I thought it would be, and now Nikai and Jeremiah Brown are making a really big push, and so we've been mixing these guys up. And I always talk about competition keeping them up at night, but now they're keeping me up at night because I'm trying to think who's going to be that guy for me. And they've been playing really well, and so I'm excited to see who's going to come out on top. But I feel good with any 4 of those guys going in.
Adam, you got one.
Jeremiah Brown, you mentioned he's kind of moved from edge to linebacker throughout his career. What does he bring to your room?
Well, he gives the pass rush, and when we're talking about any type of pressures, he has that ability to do that. But then he has a physical set. There's been certain packages he can set an edge because he did play in. And then he can run. The kid can run. He really can run. He's an athletic kid, and he's a try-hard kid. Like every day, he's up 5 o'clock in the morning in the indoor stretching in the dark, which is kind of scary. Somebody that big, when you walk in, he's sitting there stretching. But he's getting ready for the day. And so I'm happy with his progress. He's taking great notes, and he's really locked in this year. And his development it's just been something remarkable to see. So when game day comes, I think you guys are going to be talking about him and what he can bring to our packages on defense.
Brian, you go.
Coach, a lot of times we'll see there's a set 2-3 guys, and they play almost all the snaps. But with this group, do you see this as something where there could be a lot of situational things, a lot of rotation because so-and-so might be better on 3rd and long,
No, you're exactly right. There's some of that going on now, and it's caused us to have some really good discussions in the coach's office on what we can do and what we can do. And now you also can do a multiple things. So for, example, without getting into too much, let's think about certain packages now that you don't have to sub. Well, we can just get to it right now, and now it keeps the offense a little bit on their feet. They can't say, oh, here comes 42, so let's do this. Now it's, oh, he's already in the game because he can play inside backer. Now he can go on the edge, and there's no adjustment to it. Same thing with a Bentley, now Nakai Hill-Green who's came in, and then Trevor. When you think about third and long, having a 3-down linebacker, a guy who's credible, a guy who can play all 3 downs, and he can impact and embrace people to his game. It just gives you a lot of good options. So, we're to that point now where do we have packages for guys? We do. But then we also can be multiple and keep a couple guys on the field and go through each one of those packages.
Sounds like Coach Livingston told us a few weeks ago that the green dot may rotate. Typically you see that as a linebacker, but if you're going to have that type of a rotation to pull guys on and off the field, is that a position that you see one of your guys having that communication role?
It'll be the linebackers. It will be the linebackers, and I think it goes back to the previous question, because we have guys that can cover, rush, and be 3-down linebackers, that it'll be linebackers that'll have that green dot.
So is that a situation where if in different packages you pull that guy off of the field and then he can come back out onto the field, and then maybe it's like hand signals?
Well, hand signals, okay, first of all, that's not going away. Because in college ball, different than NFL, you have a lot more tempo. So, and then the hashes, of course, are also wider. So NFL, you got hashes at about 6 yards apart. College is at 13. So when that ball is going tempo and it gets put on that far hash, that backside corner may not get that call from the green dot. So you're still going to have those signals going to make sure everybody gets that. So that part is not going away. But as far as the green dot issue, having multiple backers, let's say if you got one on that has a green dot, we also have one off that has a green dot as well. And then they can go in and out.
So you can only have one guy on the field, but you can have multiple mics and helmets.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trevor mentioned earlier in camp how he felt like he was being seen less by the quarterback, playing lower, closer to the line of scrimmage, and we've seen him make a couple plays in pass coverage throughout camp. I mean, how much of a weapon do you feel like he can be for you guys in pass defense?
Well, when you take a guy who's played safety and he understands route combinations and reading from high, and now you put him lower, it's just a quicker read for him. I mean, that's the only thing you have to get adjusted to. And this kid has instincts. So with the instincts he has, it hasn't been an issue. So now he's able to play those windows and those holes that are not read by the quarterback because he understands coverages, and get in there and be able to make some plays. So his IQ is phenomenal, and his instincts are really, really good for us in that room.
And then you mentioned Nakai, too. Obviously, he's got a lot of experience playing for good defenses at Michigan. I mean, how much has that translated so far, just kind of plugging him in and picking things up pretty quickly?
Yeah. So our defense is similar to a couple of things he's done. But I think the biggest thing that Nakai has brought is just that professional attitude on how to talk loud early and often, how to get those calls out and make sure, we're playing as a unit. So you don't have to just say such and such call. You can call somebody's name. And he does that, and now the other guys get that. Like, who cares if they know on the other side his name or not? You want to make sure the communication is getting over there. And now, as you see, if you've been at the practices, there's a lot more talking, there's a lot more activity, there's a lot more high five because everybody's on the same page. And now that's rotating to those other linebackers, and they're doing the same thing. So his impact as far as showing how to be a professional has been invaluable.
Last one. Coach, any good linebacking core is able to get downhill and stop the run. How are you coaching that and preparing your linebackers to work with the defensive line to stop the run?
Well, it has to be mentality first. To play linebacker, you have to have the mentality to want to run down there and put your face in the fan, to get in there and mix it up with the D-line and the O-lineman. That's first a mentality. Once you have the mentality, then after that, it's really trying to hold the leash and tell them when to and when not to. So it's more of that now because these guys are really acting like boy dogs. And I got to pull them back. We like it when Coach Prime said, hey, it's stud, it's not tackle. You know what I'm saying? I don't like it when he say, hey, man, it's tackle, not touch. You understand the difference, right? And I'm getting that now. Guys are actually hitting. He's saying, hey, pull them back. And that's what I want, and that's what we're getting out of those guys.
One more, Troy, go ahead.
I can imagine the harder part of the position change for Trevor was adjusting to the run, reading guards, different role in the run fit. How have you seen him develop in that area?
Well, I think the first thing he did is this offseason, he put on some weight. He's up to 224 now. And, that was the first thing. He needed to do that. Now he's been taking the coaching from us as far as how to place your hands, pad level and how to strike and get out blocks. Besides that, I've had some great friends that I've called on because I think it takes a tribe, it takes a unit to coach a guy like that to get him up to speed, like a Davis Thomas, Ray Lewis has chimed in. We've had Coach Hilo, who's joined us now, and he's got in there too in the mix. So, you know, when you get that individual coaching all the time, someone's always in your ear, and it's just not me because I got 12 guys in my room, you get better, especially when you want to get better, and you know, you'll see that from him, from Trevor.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.